Do you have things like a piece of clothing or a picture or even something you can smell from the person that belonged to the person that you loved, and you want to hold it close, you want to look at it, you want to even sleep with it? That is completely normal. You are not crazy for doing that. That is one normal thing that many people do as they mourn, as they have grief for the loss of their loved one, that life-changing loss that rocks our world and changes it upside down. That is what I'm here to talk about. The next topic of something that can make you maybe feel like you're crazy, or you're messed up, or you're just going on too long about your grief. Not true. Please don't let anyone tell you that or shut you down. These things, actually having what Dr. Wolfelt calls linking objects, is normal. Something you want to see, something that you're not getting rid of, that you won't let go of, that you maybe want to hold or touch or look at or smell, is completely normal. Feel it. You want to feel it. Okay, I've heard of, somewhere I heard of somebody that actually makes pillows out of a shirt from a loved one, especially a spouse. Nothing wrong with that. It's special. And you'll find that in time, as you work through your grief, as you move through your mourning, as I say, mourning, you will eventually not need maybe that as much. It doesn't mean you'll get rid of it, and you shouldn't get rid of it. And I want to encourage you, never rush into getting rid of the person's belongings. Don't rush. There's no reward for speed, as it's said. Once you get rid of something, you can't get it back, most likely, right? Unless you give it to a family member and then you say, I want it back. So it's final once it's done. So that is something I want to encourage you to do today. I was going to share a couple things that I have from my daughter, Heidi, who I lost. I lost my mom the year before Heidi. And just to mention about her, my mom, who died at the age of 83, 84, somewhere in there. So she was larger than me, and it was a typical thing that she would give me things that she already had over the years, and our family learned to do that. We didn't think anything was bad about that. It was an act of love. But, she was of a different size, but once she died and we were going through her clothes, there was a few clothing items that fit me from when she had, when she was smaller. So there were some mid-length shirts and a beautiful black cape that keeps me warm. I keep it in my trunk. I don't wear it all the time, but it's cozy. I know I wanted to wear it a lot when she died. I also wore like all the shirts that I could have from her, that I still do have. And now, I still wear them, but I don't feel the need to wear them as much. But with my mom, I immediately wanted to wear those clothing items. With my daughter, not so. Do I have a few clothing items, a few shirts of hers? Yes, I do. There's a tank top, Tennessee tank top that I got from her. And that I've worn several times. And I honor her with that, and I have no problem with it. But there's a special blouse that she wore. Actually, it's what she's wearing in the beautiful picture that I show of her, where she wore a lot of makeup and looked beautiful. And that wasn't normal. She didn't usually wear a lot of makeup, and she didn't need to. But that's the shirt she was wearing. So I have that in a drawer. I do not want to let it go. I think someday I might give it to one of her granddaughters. And maybe one day I'll wear it, but I'm not ready to wear it, but I will not let that go. So those are a couple illustrations. Again, just as I've said on other videos, we are all unique. We all handle our grief in different ways. So what I'm sharing is my personal experience, just to kind of give you some ideas. Please share, comment. I love comments. If you want to share something that you have from your loved one that's very special to you. Now, another thing that's, because I'm doing this video today, it makes me want to find the actual rock that she gave me. Heidi gave me a rock similar to this, the same type. I don't know what it's called. There's probably a lot of them. It has a little bit of shininess on the inside of it. It was the same, but bigger. I have to find it now because I want to have it out. This is making me want to have it out. Sometimes you don't do it right away. Sometimes it's later when you find something. All of a sudden, that item becomes very special to you. right? Or maybe it's something that wasn't theirs, but reminded you of something they did have or reminds you of them. That could be so too. Linking objects. So I've got to find the bigger one. She literally, the last trip I saw her, I could write a whole book on. I've said this before. There was a lot of evil, a lot of weird stuff happening that week. So I'm not going to go into that now. The special part of that week is that she wanted to bless me more. She wanted to honor and show me love in ways that she hadn't in a long time. So we went to a place where they used to live, and there was a hill with a creek down at the bottom. And we went down there with the kids, and she was like, I'm going to find you a special rock, Mom. I'm going to find one for you. So I remember her saying that, and she found me one like this, but bigger. So I'm going to find it, and I'm going to put that out probably right next to me on my table here in my office. And her boyfriend was like, come on, and hurrying her. And she said, no, I'm going to find a rock for my mom. So I will never forget that. And it does make that rock special. I put it in a special place. And sometimes my habit is if I lose things, it's usually because I put it somewhere special and I forgot where I put it. And I usually eventually find it. So anyway, I have post-nasal drop. Sorry about that. I think sometimes that's my emotions coming up, even though it's also allergies. And that's okay, right? I just got tissue boxes next to me. It's okay to cry, or whatever it is, as small or as big as we need to. So it's important that if a belonging triggers you, it stirs up a grief burst or your emotions, get you thinking again, it's important to embrace that and not shut it down, and not just get rid of the belongings because you think that'll help you move forward. I'll talk about an extreme in a minute that I'm not indicating that extreme, but it is not, again, it's not bad. It actually helps you to move through your morning and get the grief out and to move into a place of healing, learning to cope, and then stirring up your hope and healing in the long run. It can hinder your healing if you get rid of things too quickly or try to shut that down. Now, at the same time, certain things can move you to grief burst and you're not ready to deal with that. It's okay to say not now, of course. For me, pictures definitely stirs up more of the grief in me. Not as much now with my grandkids because I feel more at peace and whole about that, and I'm in a better place with it, with them being adopted out. But, I don't always intentionally look at tons of pictures in the past because it would stir up a lot. But again, it's not bad and it's good. And if you need to cry and you haven't cried and an item helps you to cry, by all means, accept that process and touch that belonging, look at it, smell it, feel it, whatever it is you need to do. Put it on if it helps you to wear it, okay? As I shared. So this is all good. And another thing is this picture I keep close to me. It's right over here on my desk, and I've used it when I go speak and showed what Heidi looked like. It's my physical picture to bring in the classroom where I don't do a slide presentation. I don't know if you can see her. This is just a very dear picture to me that I didn't even remember we took, but her sitting on a swing at Florida Beach. She was probably about 15, and I feel like this is before everything started to go downhill with her, because even in high school she got into marijuana, and I think other things took place that I don't even realize that were traumatic for Heidi and led into possibly how everything went. Don't know all those details, but anyway, that picture is very special to me. I like looking at that. And now the little picture that I showed last week on my video of her laughing with her Goonie brothers, that one is special, and I see that every time, or it's right to the right of my door when I walk into this office. So those are just a few things that I'll mention about me and my losses. So the other extreme is that some people, and it's completely, let me say this before I go into that, it's completely normal to hold off because you physically can't, you're busy dealing with the memorial service and what have you after the person dies, it's not wrong at all to take some time to, before you go through the room, if say it was your child or your husband or something like that, and you don't go through the belongings or go through the room and you don't touch anything for a while, that's normal and that's okay. It's when people do it for years and years and on and on and on and they never touch it that could be detrimental, because it could be in a way them thinking that person's still going to come back and have that room. That way the room's intact, right? The garage intact. There's a special spot in the garage or whatever it would be that you leave untouched. So long term, it could hinder your moving through your mourning, because again, going through those items can be very much a part of you remembering them, remembering things from the past, good and bad, and processing all of that. It can aid in that. Okay, so we don't want to enshrine the person's things per se and never leave them untouched for a long, long time. If you're in that position, get help. Get a counselor, a therapist, or a coach, or a mentor, a trusted, safe friend to go through it with you. Don't do it alone. If you know it's going to be super hard, don't do it alone. But definitely make a goal of working through those items and changing it up. And, if you have to get rid of things quickly for some reason, moving or whatever, whatever the situation is, at least when you're going through the things, if there's things you at all think you might want to keep at least one of those items, or, keep something. Don't get rid of everything, because you'll probably regret it and you can't get it back once it's gone again. So, even if it's a bunch of clothing, it was a good amount of clothing Heidi had, and there's no way I was going to keep all of it. So I went through it, picked out the items I wanted to keep, and then I put it out for her friends when they came for her memorial, and many of them took different items of hers, and that blessed them to remember Heidi and work through their grief. And then I think I donated a small amount too out after that. So, so I didn't just get rid of all of it, and I didn't just keep it all and make a problem with that either, right? So that kind of a thing. So this is what I wanted to share today. Linking objects or things that belong to the person or remind you of the person that you want to hold on to, that you want to keep close to you or see, or at least have in your home, and you don't want to get rid of them. Okay? So that is another thing that maybe you think you're a little off or weird or whatever, but you're not. Okay? So let's get rid of those negative things about ourselves that just adds to our grief. And let's be patient and kind to ourselves and do the things we need to do to help ourselves work through our grief and really integrate it into our lives. That loss into our lives is part of our lives. We've accepted it now. It's now a part of our lives. And the way we think and the way we act has to do with the loss of that loved one. But we end up being healed in the end and healthy. And we know we've accepted it, and we know everything's okay. It's not what we wanted, but it's okay. So that's what I wanted to share today. Please, if you like any of my videos, take the time to click that like button. It would really help it to go out more. That's important. A lot of people don't think to do that, so I'm just reminding you today. And again, feel free to comment if you want to share an object that you hold dearly from your loved one. That's all part of us working through our grief when we share that with someone else we don't know or that we do know. So God bless you. I'm Julie Kay, helping you find your way through grief and loss. See you next time.